Welcome to Hickory Rotary Club. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring.
Invocation today by Mike Johnson.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we are coming off the celebrations of a Memorial Day weekend. Lord, we ask that you keep our veterans, our servicemen and women in our hearts every day. We are free because they have paid the ultimate price. Father, we pray for them. We pray for their families. Father, we pray for our first responders who are with us to help us in a moment's notice. We ask that you keep them safe. And now, Father, please pray that this food might bless our bodies and we might work to do your good work. In your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. John Ross, song of the day.
This land is your land.
This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
Jan Bowmiller has visiting Rotarians.
Okay, for the Lake Hickory Club, we have Floyd Lucas, John Lee, Bert Witzel, David Hood. From Taylorsville, we have Deanna Pennell, and special guests from East Fresno, California, Jean and Margaret Clayton.
Okay, any guests of Rotarians in the dining room? Charles.
President-elect David, Deanna Pennell was introduced as a visiting Rotarian from Taylorsville. Just an additional word about Deanna, she is a Rotarian in good standing in Taylorsville. She's just transferred to Hickory. She's manager of the Community One office in Beaumont, and she's going to pursue a transfer to our club.
Anyone else on the right? Center? The guest about left side. Okay, thank you. Jennifer Clark, you have an announcement.
Deborah and I do.
There's a tag team announcement on the left.
So we just wanted to briefly tell you that this Saturday, Women in Philanthropy, which is a group under the Catawba Medical Foundation, is having their first annual party on the lawn at the Salt Block. So we invite all of you to come out, spread the word to friends and family. All the money stays local, and a big thank you to Jennifer for sponsoring it so that we can make this event possible.
And it's, even though it's not being announced family friendly because they're serving alcohol, it is. So if you want to bring your children, and it looks like the weather's going to be good.
Yeah,
so
far it looks like the weather's turned bad for Friday, so we're getting Saturday.
Okay, Alan Huffman.
Hickory, there's a segment on UNC TV tonight, 9 o'clock. The show's called North Carolina Weekend. It's going to have a segment about Hickory, the Southern Contemporary Folk Art. All the filming was done at the Hickory Museum of Art and at the Catawba Valley Pottery Festival. 9 o'clock tonight, 8:30 tomorrow night, UNC TV.
Okay, Frank Young.
Thank you, David. Okay, so I need to report to everybody how proud I am with. Can everybody hear me? With the blood drive. So the blood drive was a success. We wanted 50 units. We got 43. I think the main reason why we didn't get 50 is because the elections that were on Tuesday, and so people didn't see our signs. What I'm proud of is the Rotarians here. Out of the 43, we had 26 from this club, and that's fantastic. So thank you so much. We also had referrals from members of the club, so you know that takes it to almost 30. We also had volunteers. Usually we have double the walk-ins, so I truly think that the signage was an issue this year. But after the drive, the community blood centers brought me a couple of goodies, and so I want to raffle these off today. The first one are 2 tickets or $7.50 discount. I don't know if you can get a movie ticket for that for Carmike Theaters. The second is a $15 gift card for Texas Roadhouse. And so what I've done is I have highlighted all the names of people that gave, and also for the Rotarians that attempted. I think that counts for something, as well as the volunteers. And so I have them numbered out. And so they're all mixed up. I promise they're mixed up. And so I'm going to have somebody pick a number, if you will, please. So this is number 9. And number 9 is Leslie Middleton. Oh! How about that? Yeah. Come up here and take your pick. You're first. Movie tickets or Texas Roadhouse?
I think my husband would really like the Texas
Roadhouse. Good. Thanks, Leslie. Okay, one more. Okay. Number 40, he's not here, I don't think, but it's Jeff Butler. Yeah, all right, Jeff. There we go. Appreciate it. That's all. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for your support.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you for all your work on the blood drive.
We missed some visitors that kind of were at our table. Mark, Clayton from Fresno, California, slipped in here. We didn't know him, now we know him.
I guess after our song, we have to get everybody quieting down so that everybody will actually listen and pay attention. That's 2 different things, listening and paying attention. Thomas Griffiths at the Rotary moment.
Again, I am absolutely overwhelmed by your reading. We have some birthday celebrations today, actually tomorrow, and in the days to come. Tomorrow, Drew Van Horn and Lindsay Lowen will celebrate a birthday. So happy birthday to Drew and Lindsay. Next week, Schubert Abernathy will celebrate a birthday Tuesday. Mary Texer Wednesday, and Mike Johnson, our invocation offerer, will celebrate a birthday Thursday. Mike, are you telling your age? No. Okay. I have not heard of any health of the club issues.
Posted on a bunch of highways.
75. I have not heard of any health of the club issues. Is anyone aware of illnesses or matters that we need to call to our attention? Okay. Well, how many of you know who Ron Burton is?
President, all right.
Very good. Thank you, David. Ron Burton is the president of Rotary International. And in the June issue of the Rotarian, he makes this comment. It's an Oklahoma saying. You need to leave the woodpile just a little higher than you found it. You need to leave the woodpile just a little higher than you found it. And to do that, he says, you have to get involved. Indeed, the theme of Rotary International this year is Engage Rotary, Change Lives. Engage Rotary, Change Lives. To do that, we are encouraged to do two things. One is each one of us is encouraged to find a new person to join our ranks of Rotary Club members. And the purpose of that is not simply to bolster the membership of our club, but it is to increase participation in our projects, including Rotarian Idol, which have significant consequences for the service that we render to the community. So, engage. Another way is to become individually engaged in the lives of other people. And immediately there are two things that come to mind for me. One is the Lunch Buddy program, and our birthday gal tomorrow, Lindsay Lowen, can answer any questions you might have about the Lunch Buddy program. It's a wonderful way of engaging a middle school student in our community who has needs for someone who can be a meaningful model for life. Another program that we desperately need is for you to serve as proctors for our end of grade test. Any of you who are teachers or work in our schools, whether it's the local school system, the Hickory school system, or the county school systems, any of you who are teachers or administrators know the desperate need for proctors. I served as a proctor last year, and I'm serving 2 days as a proctor this year. And what a proctor does is assist teachers in administering fairly the end of grade test for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, for middle school students, and for high school students. To be a proctor is, in the words of Dita Helms, who is one of the counselors at Grandview School, boring but necessary. And it is necessary, indeed it's required by the state, that individuals like us are available to assist teachers when called upon and to stand around making sure the students take their test fairly. So all of our schools need proctors. I talked with staff members of 3 schools this morning, and they all desperately need them. It's easy to be a proctor. It requires a brief training session and being present for 2 to 3 hours on any of the days next week, especially Tuesday through Friday, and Monday and Tuesday of the following week. So be engaged with individuals through Lunch Buddy, through proctoring. I have some forms that these come from Northview School, but if you would like to serve as a proctor at Northview Middle School, here are forms to do that here. And just call any of the schools and say, I would like to be a proctor, and they will make sure you get the information you need. And that's no joke. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. I'm glad as President-elect I was able to answer that question about who the Rotary International President was. So, and the reason I am up here is because our President, Suzanne, is at the RI convention in Australia. So somebody's got to do it. But she'll be there through next week as well. Also, on the Rotary timeline is the district conference that is in Greenville, South Carolina, June 20th to 22nd. So if anybody is thinking about going to that has not made reservations, the deadline for the discounted room rate at the Hyatt Greenville ends tomorrow. So if you're considering that and want to get that discounted rate in downtown Greenville, which is a great place to have a meeting, as I understand. Also, Thomas must have read the script. He had all kinds of tie-ins. We are, today we'll have a couple of things to tell you about how your money that we have raised, through our project is taking place. One thing, I have a card here from Verna Breland, who is this year's Wilmer Jenkins Teacher of the Year. She said, "I would love to extend a heartfelt thank you to the members and selection panel for the generous support of the Wilmer Jenkins Teacher of the Year Award. I'm honored to have been selected as this year's Teacher of the Year, and I will always cherish this prestigious title. I promise to continue to respect and build relationships with my students while keeping in mind my undeniable belief that every child has value and every child can learn." So that was nice from Verna Breland. That'll be up here as well. And we have a special presentation to be made today by John Bates.
Thank you, President-elect David. It was just 5 years ago, almost to the day, that I put my paperwork in to transfer into this club. So it does go fairly smoothly. And in the 5 years that I've been a member of this club, I have had the privilege of serving on what originally was two committees that then during that first year merged and became the Educational and Charitable Giving Committee. It's been an interesting time. There have been a lot of changes taking place in the way we raise money, the way we allocate money, and how we choose to whom our money will go. The guidelines, it's not a firm rule, but the guidelines that were adopted last year after we went to the procedure that with our new foundation that we know when the budget is prepared how much money we're going to have to give away, rather than waiting until the end of May to find out. So what we do now, as a general rule, is take the total amount of money that the Hickory Rotary Foundation has allocated. We meet our obligations for scholarships, prior year commitments, and the new year commitment. What's left, we divide into 4 parts. Half of it goes into a single grant for a major project that is of significance and will have a big impact on our community. Half of what's left is reserved to the board, and that's used for things like the Teacher of the Year Award, the Paul Whitener grant, RILA, any district special initiatives, being able to match funds for district direct grants, and other things that the board has. The other quarter goes to the Educational and Charitable Giving Committee for their allocation and recommendation to the board. And now we don't have to wait until the end of the year to review those applications to see what the opportunities are. So in the future, we will be starting next year. We will have some of these presentations early in the year. We don't have to wait till the last minute. But we're slow. Tradition is pretty strong, and it takes a little while for us to get in gear to change the way we do things. But it is my privilege today to make the major grant for this year on behalf of your club. Now, I love to read. I am a compulsive reader. I have a smartphone so I can have books ready to read. I stay up late and read. My greatest fear is that something will happen to my vision to where I can't read, because if I start listening to something, I go to sleep. I was good to my students who did that because I knew where they were coming from, as long as they read the assignments beforehand. But anyway, reading is essential for our well-being and growth. And early childhood, getting started right, and reading is critical. And we don't have nearly enough of that. So there is a program that is Rotary sanctioned. It's not a Rotary program, but like Shelter Boxes and Stop Hunger Now and the Wheelchair Foundation and some others, Rotary has looked at it and said, this is a good program. And we encourage clubs and districts to support it. That is the Dolly Parton Foundation Imagination Library. I first learned about this just before I moved from Georgia, when District 6900 was encouraging participation by clubs in this project, and it's a good one. We've had this as our major project for 4 years now. We made an initial commitment when they were thinking about starting this in Catawba County, and we said, if we go ahead and commit to this, can you go ahead and get it started now rather than waiting till you see you get the funding? And so we've done this now. In the last 3 years, according to my calculations, we have bought books for 1,680 children aged 1 to 5 in Catawba County. And that is a total of 20,160 books this club has bought for our children in our community to learn to read. And this next year, 800 more children will be able to receive 9,600 books. So it's my pleasure on your behalf to present to the Catawba County Partnership for Children a check for $20,000.
I'm Kim Holden with the Catawba County Partnership for Children. I'm truly overwhelmed with this. We are acutely aware of how hard it is to raise money and how hard you all work to raise that money for your philanthropies, and we so appreciate Imagination Library being at the top of that list. I was given 2 minutes, so I wrote my comments down so I wouldn't go overboard. But with the support of the Hickory Rotary Club, we were first able to bring Imagination Library here to the children of Catawba County back in April of 2011, so we're our 3rd year now. Since that time, we have been able to provide over 103,000 books to young children right here in our own community. The Dollywood Foundation does significantly reduce the cost of those books for us. It would only cost us $2 to send a book to a child here in Catawba County, and that's a book with that child's name on it that they get in the mail every single month. They start with the Imagination Library program getting a book called The Little Engine That Could. And then when they graduate at age 5, they get Look Out Kindergarten, Here I Come. We have recently done an evaluation of our Imagination Library program, and I've put some copies there on your table so you can see the impact of this program, but it's extraordinary. Because of your efforts and because of the Imagination Library program being here in Catawba County, parents are reading more often to their children. Children are becoming more excited about reading early. That's exactly what we wanted to see for this program. We are so proud to be a part of this program. And we clearly would not have been able to start this program without the benefit of the Hickory Rotary Club and you all putting in the elbow grease to get this funding for us so that we could get started 3 years ago. And now we've built up to serve over 4,100 children every single month with Imagination Library books. That's almost, actually about 1/3 of all children 0 to age 5 in our community. So we are really growing. We are so proud to be a part of this initiative, and we thank you so much. On behalf of the children and families who receive these books, and then on behalf of the elementary school teachers and middle school teachers and high school teachers that will ultimately teach these children who love to read. So thank you for your support. We are overwhelmed and we are so appreciative. Thank you.
Kim, you actually had 6 minutes, but John took 4 of them.
I'm sorry.
John took 4 of them, so.
Can I just say something really quick? We're in pediatrics, and we sign up every eligible child for this, and we see firsthand the benefits. We see them talk about going to the mailbox to get their book. It's a wonderful program.
And that's why you buy those ads and join the Century Club. You're doing some great things. And we're going to accelerate that process, as John said, with the new Rotary year. Next year starts July 1st, not next calendar year. So we'll be taking at least half of those and trying to get some of that money given out because we already have it and we need to get it in somebody's hands. Oliver Noble has today's program.
Thank you, John. You have Bill Wilson's biography in the bulletin. I hope you'll read it. He wrote that. This is the one that I wrote. Doc Watson, Patty Page, the Kingston Trio, Judy Collins, Ray Charles, the Limelighters, the Letterman, the Four Freshmen, Brothers Four, Beausoleil, Pat Paulson, Riders in the Sky, Al Hurt, Tom Chapin, David Holt, Floyd Kramer, the Ink Spots, the Smothers Brothers, Allison Krauss, Gillian Welch, Roy Clark, Shirley Reeves, Livingston Taylor, the Oak Ridge Boys, Chubby Checker, Janice Eel, Rhonda Vincent, Mel Tillis, Pam Tillis, Kathy Mateo, James Gregory, the Diamonds, Dr. Ralph Stanley, the Von Trapp Children, Peter Yarrow, the Preservation Hall Jazz Band, the Glenn Miller Orchestra, Shana Na, Herman's Hermits, the New Christy Minstrels, the Spinners, the Carolina Chocolate Drops, J.D. Sumner and the Stamps Quartet, Little Anthony and the Imperials, Jay and the Americans, Jack Jones, Marcel Marceau, Patty Page, Mickey Rooney, along with more Broadway shows than you could name in 2 hours, and a fresco. What all these acts have in common is that they've all appeared at the City of Morganton Municipal Auditorium, brought there by a genius of a manager named Bill Wilson. Bill has set the standard that'll be difficult for anybody else to ever maintain. Bill and I have known each other since before there was a comma, and I'm very proud of what he's done to bolster the culture and to lessen the isolation of Burke County in this region. I asked Bill to come and tell you a few things that have happened over the years and what's new at Common and whatever else he wants to say. So, Mr. Culture, Bill Wilson.
I want to thank Judge Noble for inviting me to this club today, and I want to thank you for presenting my program too. That's about all I have to say. I have been very fortunate. I came to North Carolina actually when I was a teenager working up at Montreat as a bellboy, and fell in love with it. My mother's from West Jefferson. We spent summers, our summer vacations were on the farm on Highway 163 outside of West Jefferson. Little did I know that connection with Ben Long and the frescoes. I'm sure many of you have been to Glendale Springs and up to Beaver Creek in Ashe County and seen those frescoes, and we're fortunate and blessed to have one in our facility at Common Morganton. Just as a show of hands, and I won't hold it against you, how many of you have been up to Morganton to Common at one time or another? Wonderful. That's great. That's better than a lot of people in Morganton. That being said, for those of you that don't know, the theater opened in November of 1986. It was the vision of a really sharp city manager, a fellow named Doug Bean, who eventually became city manager in Asheville about the month after I was hired, and Andy Kistler, who was our mayor at that time. Since that time, we've had the same mayor, Mel Cohen, since 1985. So I've worked under the same mayor and pretty much the same council system since that time. Not a lot of changes over there. We have done a lot of shows. And Judge Noble asked me to tell a couple anecdotes. I don't know how funny they are or moving they are, but the biography and then what you know about Common performances in this area, I think pretty well. I can tell you numbers and so forth. But we operate as a service, just like public safety, public works, recreation. We operate as a service to the citizens of Morganton, Burke County, and beyond. I wish the arts made a lot of money. They don't, you know that. That being said, if you do a little research, and what I've found, believe it or not, the arts are big business in North Carolina. 5 years ago, I don't have the stats since then, 5 years ago, arts were more than turkeys. They were more than Christmas trees. They were more than cotton. That's a big deal. Wilkesboro, and I think we can call Merle Fest an arts festival of sorts, based on Merle and Doc Watson's heritage in that area. Merle Fest this past year brought a little over $17 million into that community over that one weekend. And that's gas, and that's food, restaurants, that's lodging, and that's tickets to shows. So it does not only round out the culture and the atmosphere of a community, it certainly pays for itself in some ways. We have a lot of volunteers that work for us. I have a core of 100 people, mainly senior citizens that are from ages 50 to some have gone as high as close to 90, that operate as a group called the Blue Blazers. They handle all our front of house activities, including ushering, taking up tickets, concessions, and merchandise, and also some customer service. An auditorium such as CAMA, which by the way stands for City of Morgan Municipal Auditorium, could not exist without them. We have a small staff. I have with me our marketing associate, Amber Austin, and that's her title, but she does marketing, she does hospitality for the artist, she consults with people when they want to use a reception, use the theater for a reception or something like that, and she also oversees the box office and basically does anything I don't want to do, which works out fairly well. Some of the groups that we have had there, I have a couple friends who, Judge Noble knows one of them in particular. A lot of the people he mentioned are not with us anymore. Floyd Kramer is gone, Al Hurd is gone, Boots Randolph is gone. We've lost a number of people. Mickey Rooney just a couple months ago passed away. So we have a wall there of sort of chronological pictures, where they went up chronologically, of the pictures and autographs of many of the artists. And most of them are not around anymore. Some call it the Wall of Death. A couple good friends, and I'll use that good in quotes, got a hold of some of my business cards 2 years ago. I was headed to New York for a booking conference, and on the back of those cards, they printed, "Plan your next event at CAMA, you won't live to regret it." I was in a hurry when I left, and I just grabbed a stack of cards and threw them in my briefcase, my suitcase, headed to New York, and I'm going through the conference handing out those cards right and left. Got a lot of comments on that. So we do have a great sense of humor over there, and we've had some wonderful, wonderful artists there. Judge Noble mentioned Roy Clark, and I'll tell you, I know time is an issue with a Rotary meeting, and I hope you don't walk out, because I do have some tickets I'm going to give you at the end if that'll keep you here, or draw for. Roy Clark was there 15 years ago. Wonderful musician, wonderful man. I had a call from a place up in Mitchell County called Ingalls near Spruce Pine. Many of you may have been through there and didn't know it, but it's right between, as they say, between Trash Barrel and Resume Speed. A lady called me and said her daughter had some physical and mental disabilities, and I'm not sure what they were, but she was a big, big Roy Clark fan. Had his pictures all over her room, and she'd watched Hee Haw, and certainly Roy Clark is much more than Hee Haw. Great musician, great entertainer, wonderful man, and wondered if she could come down and see him. She was in a wheelchair. She could not speak, but she could hear and she could see. And we made arrangements for her to come and got her in that evening. They came down in an old pickup truck, and I told Mr. Clark that she was there, and he didn't know her or anything, but would he speak to her after the show? And a lot of the artists, not a lot, but a good number of them do the show. They get back on their van or their bus or head back to the hotel, and they're gone. He had done almost a 3-hour show. His arm was swollen, it was packed on ice, came back at the end of the show, and I said, do you want to grab a quick shower or something before you go out front or anything? He said, no, I want to see that young lady. Now, I don't know if she was 16 or 35, but she was just lit up like a Christmas tree. And our custodian brought her backstage toward the end of the show during the encore, and he went out in the hall, met with her for probably 20 minutes. Didn't have to do that. Made a big impact, certainly, on her life, and I think it affected those of us who were around watching too. Wonderful, wonderful man. Marcel Marceau was here. right after 9/11, barely got in the country because of the visas and the flight problems, came to me and said that America, small man, had saved his country in World War II. He was in the French Resistance. If, this man's 82 years old at this time, if America needed him, he would come and fight. So you get some things like that, and you get some crazy things too. It's been a great ride. I'm close to retirement now, probably next year, and I've had wonderful opportunities to meet these people and get to know them and be able to call them friend. Artists are wanting to play. Artists that were charging a lot of money and a lot of egos 20 years ago have changed their way. They're wanting to play and be out there. John Tesh, who was doing $300,000 Red Rock Canyon concerts once or twice a year, is now playing 40, 50, 60 times a year because he's a musician and he wants to play. A lot of good things happening. I hope you'll come up to CAMA. You have on your table our brochure, the 2014-15 season. This is our 28th year. Our prices, if price is an issue for anyone, our top price is lower than the lowest price in most theaters anywhere. And if you've been to New York, especially, you know what I'm talking about. We're finding a lot of our market is coming from Statesville and Gastonia right now. And the reason being is a lot of folks are tired of dealing with Charlotte issues, I guess. They can be at CAMA in about the same time, and we're a smaller theater, so maybe the seating's a little bit better. We're a little more hometown, and I think that treatment means a lot to folks too. I want to mention one other person that was with us recently. That was Pat Boone. We do have a lot of old timers that come in. Wonderful man there too. Came in and did our Christmas show. We've started doing a Christmas show. We bring children in that sing with an artist. We usually have somewhere between 40 and 75 young people that join the artist. Pat Boone has done that, and the Letterman has done that. Have done that. We also do a show that I don't know that anyone else does anywhere in the country. Maybe they do, but I haven't found it. We do a show called The Show. We don't tell anybody what it is. You won't know what it is until the curtain comes up and the lights go on. And even then, you might not know until they get started for a little while. That's been very successful, and it sells as well or better than anything else. A lot of arts are struggling, whether it's community theater or symphonies or choral societies, art galleries and so forth. They really have to market and push themselves. But we wouldn't be here without it. The clothes that we wear would not be designed without some sort of art form. The cars that we drive would not be designed and built without some sort of art form beyond the engineering. A lot of things tie back into the arts. I've sort of avoided the word arts in some cases. I've brought it back out. It seemed to have kind of a haughty, intimidating sound at one time, but it's coming back around now. The theater's meant a lot to me. I've learned a lot in North Carolina as a director and designer, and now as a presenter. And we have North Carolina considers itself the state of the arts. That's one of its logos. Support the arts when you can, whether you're down at the beach and they're having a little festival or a concert or even just a pottery show or anything like that. Anything you do like that keeps it alive and keeps it going. And we all want it for our children. We need to want it for ourselves too. Our biggest challenge right now is to get the younger audience. And by the younger audience, I mean those that are under 50, not 20, not 30, not 40, those under 50. Because a lot of these folks, especially when you get down 20s, 30s, and 40s, did not grow up with live performances. We have a lot of white and silver hair in the theater today, and we need some brown, black, and blondes in there too. We really do. And once we get them, they realize what it is. One little girl was there a few years ago, and there was a slow point in a show, and she asked her grandmother if she could fast forward it. So technology has hurt us a little bit too. If most of our exercise is right here, then we are certainly lacking a little bit. CAMA serves not only the main stage series, we serve the community and fundraisers for Habitat, Burke United Christian Ministries, a lot of churches. Rotary Club has made significant money when I was a member of Rotary Club back in the 90s and early 2000s, and put that money back into the community just as you have. I'm pleased to have been here. We are going to have a couple tickets we're going to give away in that brochure, you'll see Pam Tillis is coming in, I think, on August 22nd. We're going to do 2 for those, and then 2 for the Jersey Boys piece called Oh What a Night, and hope that someone here who wins that can use it or share it with someone who would like to come up. We're located in the downtown area. It's a great facility if you've not been there. We want you to feel at home, and we consider Hickory, Lenore, Marion, Shelby, all those areas a big part of our market and a part of our hometown crowd. We can't rely just on Morgan and Burke County. We'd love to have you come up and see us anytime. If you have any questions, I know your time is short here today. I'll hang around for a few minutes and be glad to talk to anyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill, and everybody feel free to come by. John, we'll draw from everybody that contributed today to have a chance to get in on both the drawing and the service bus self-raffle. So we'll do the tickets first. You got 2 sets.
We have 2 sets for Pam Tillis, and if Amber can just get their name and all, we'll take it.
Okay.
Can I draw? Let Amber go. That's why I brought her. That's a lot of pressure. She likes to be front and center.
So tell everybody that didn't come today they missed out on all these drawings we're having.
Technology.
Okay, first number is 551208. Okay, there's one.
I won this for Meg Locke, so
Oh.
I'll take it to her.
That's between you and me. All right. Second ticket. Did you draw
here.
now? Okay. Well, you're still in for the service bus. Okay, next set 551212. 551212.
What?
It may be. You? All right, I believe. Most people won't. But.
That's ramen box.
Okay. Big things going on at the. All right, so the same family actually. Robert. We'll get that. All right, let's put these back in, and then if you would draw one more. Draw one of those. For the service bus self raffle. Draw the ace of spades.
$78 today, $206 in the pot total, 49 cards and 2 jokers.
Okay, 551127.
All right. No, I got it.
You get the ace of spades, you get a free lunch.
Charles, you're going for me to get a free lunch, right? I knew it. That's and I did.
Close. Counts and horseshoes.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Remember the coins in Alzheimer's research buckets, online makeup instructions, and you also can go to the website and you can see a video of today's or some past meetings that we have had, and just call that makeup in to Rustin. Any other announcements? We're glad to have Floyd, John, Herb, and David from the Lake Hickory Club. Deanna, nice having you here with us today. And Amber, thank you for coming along. And Jean and Margaret, we hope that we'll all be able to visit you in East Fresno, California sometime. Glad to have you. Thanks for coming.
They'll have to meet us out there because they're living here now.
Oh, okay. Formerly of East Fresno, California. Okay, good deal. All right, please stand now for the German four-way test. For the things we think, say, and do.
The truth is bear all concern, with a little goodwill and better friendships.